Hello, welcome to the fourth episode in our St Baldrick's Impact series, the live stream that gives kids a lifetime. I'm your host, Kathleen Reddy, CEO of the St Baldrick's Foundation, and I have the greatest job in the world because I get to work with heroes for kids with cancer every day, and you're about to meet one. I'm so pleased to introduce Casie Shimansky, an 11-year volunteer and 4-time St Baldrick Shavee, an event photographer and team captain for St Baldrick's. Most important, she dedicates her service to her sister Kelly. And when you hear Casie explain why, you'll be as moved as I was. Casie, it's so fitting that you're here in Women's History Month because you are a woman making history of your own. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me and that awesome introduction. You're going to make me cry already. We're not even a minute in.
We do that a lot around St. Baldrick's. It just comes with the territory. So just feel whatever you feel and let it go. How did you get involved with St. Baldrick's?
Oh, goodness. So it's been 11 years. And I like to say that the St. Baldrick's Foundation found me through 6 degrees of separation. Garrett, who was our volunteer event organizer, was looking for a photographer, friend of a friend connection. They found me, and the rest is sort of history. When he called me up and told me about what St. Baldrick's is and what it benefited, I was hooked. I was done. Sign me up. And then I told him that I would never let him have an event without me. And so I went on to become their lead event photographer here in Vieira for 7 years. And so even after I sort of retired from photography, I still stayed on as a St. Baldrick's photographer. That was the one day that brought me out of retirement until the year I became a Shavee myself.
You know, you started as a photographer. We've been so fortunate to have fantastic photography from your event there in Florida. And I should say one of the most successful events in the whole southern part of the US, by the way. But I think you've been able to capture that transformation that happens, not only the very obvious before and after, you know, with hair, without hair, but the transformation that takes place in the heart of each participant as well. Mm-hmm. And those events reflect a big emotional journey, don't they?
They do. They absolutely do. I think it was their mission every year to make me cry. We had one of our doctors who the past 3 or 4 years of my photography from the event, she would like proclaim excitedly, "We got the photographer to cry." There were many times behind the camera I had tears in my eyes, but there were some where it just couldn't be contained. It's such an emotional, moving day, powerful day. And we often say here that there's no day like Shave Day. It's a big day for us.
And you built a team called Team Live Out Loud. When did that get started?
So that was in 2013. So my first event was 2011, came back the next year, brought a friend with me. And then the following year, we came back as a team. So my dad and my now husband were the first 2 to sign up to go bald for the team. And it was in memory of my younger sister who passed away at 18 in 2004 from unknown causes. We just didn't know what took her. It happened pretty quickly within a week. And we always knew we wanted to do something to give back. We just didn't know what that looked like because we didn't really have a cause to rally around. And so when St. Baldrick's found me, it just sort of the stars aligned, and it was a perfect thing that we got to give back in this way to kids and their families.
I'm so sorry for your loss. I can't imagine how difficult that was. And I would imagine that, like you said, you didn't have a cause to rally around, and it probably made it more urgent that you find a way to put some meaning around the loss of this young, beautiful soul and to make some good come from it in her memory, to honor her memory.
Yes. Yeah. So she passed in 2004, and again, it wasn't until 2011 that we found St. Baldrick's, and it was tough. I mean, it's tough anytime you lose someone, especially someone so young and vibrant, healthy, and you know, being a normal 18-year-old one week, and then the next week in the hospital, and unfortunately, we left without her. You know, and for all those years, we didn't really have something to put that grief into. And St Baldrick's changed my life. It gave my place, my grief, a place to go. And we turned that into something, really good for a lot of people and a lot of kids, which built Kelly's legacy even further than she had already done in her 18 years.
What you just said, it gave my grief a place to go. That is really powerful. I've never heard it quite put in those words before, but I've certainly heard families of kids with cancer talk about St. Baldrick's in similar ways for them. That's beautiful. And what an incredible legacy that you've created for Kelly. And it really allows her spirit to live on.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. I know she's looking down and she's just super proud that this is, this stemmed from the pain and what we went through. And it continues to carry on each year. It just, we tie this year, our event will be July 31st and her birthday would have been August 1st. So we decided to shave on a Saturday. But that weekend is for her, and usually our normal shave date is at the end of March, just a couple weeks before the date that we lost her. And so it's kind of just, like I talk a lot about the stars aligning, but that to me, it feels like it's coming directly from her. And it's just a way for us to carry on.
Well, I'm sure that she's going to be looking down on you that day from the stars and making sure that it's successful and continues to be meaningful for you as well. You talk about your team, Live Out Loud. And if someone looks at you right now, Casie, they would say, wow, look at that beautiful blue hair. What part does that play in it? And tell us what it means to you to live out loud.
I get this question a lot. I think Live Out Loud is a little different for everyone, right? But it's the mantra I sort of clung to in the days after we lost Kelly. They were just words at the time, but I knew that if I didn't get up and at least get dressed and just start small, that, there were two ways for me to go. And I knew one way I didn't want to venture down. So it became Live Out Loud. They became my lifeline to figuring out this new normal. And losing her broke me, but it also built me. And that's what Live Out Loud means to me, that we all go through stuff, we all break, but it's sort of the mosaic after that comes out. And there are still silver linings and beautiful moments to be had, even in some really sad, difficult, tough times. There's a little good-natured stubbornness in all of that as well. Anyone will tell you that's been on the team or knows me, I am a fierce fundraising advocate. I want you to raise money for kids' cancer. But for me, the hair has kind of become the symbol of Live Out Loud. I accidentally started dyeing my hair this way for Halloween one year. And it just kind of stuck. And now with what I do at work, I work at Cisco as a content strategist. It's all about be yourself. And this to me is me. It's my superhero hair. And it does a lot of good for kids' cancer. I've got a lot of stories, I probably don't have time for them all on just my hair. But it's definitely something that stands out. People question good, bad, ugly, and it opens the door for me to have those conversations and say, oh, you love my hair color, don't get used to it. I'm going to go bald in 4 months, and here's why. And so it just opens that door for those conversations and for the fundraising. And it's fun. I won't lie, having blue hair and walking around with that. It just feels normal to me. When I dyed my hair, I recently bleached it down to blonde, and a few of my friends were like, I don't like it. It's not a good look for you.
Well, you're very vibrant. And, I think that all of us want to have that kind of flair in whatever way in our lives. And you are brave enough to live out loud in this way. And we always talk around St. Baldrick's about the fact that once you're shorn, you get to become a walking billboard for the cause, but you have found a way to expand that and be a walking billboard basically all year long, because you always have the opportunity to talk about the mission, to talk about Kelly, to honor her, and to tell a story that's really powerful and in a way that suggests to other people that they too can be part of it.
Yes, absolutely. I hear a lot that, there's a lot of meaning behind hair. A lot of people, that's almost their identity. And you would probably expect that from me with vibrant hair color, and I'm certainly known for it. But I love the buzz cut. If I could have that year round, I would. And I guess I could. Like I would just keep it short and colorful. But there's something to be said to kind of going through those transitions, and people take note of that. They're always, on my calls at work, what's your hair color today? If I'm not on camera, they need to see it. So it's become part of Live Out Loud. And even for our wedding, I had purple hair for our wedding, which was a big question if I would or wouldn't. But all of Sean's sister, my sister, my mom, they all had purple streaks in their hair. So it's kind of even caught a little bit throughout the family.
That's a lot of fun. Well, your whole family sounds like a lot of fun. I can imagine that at work in this era of COVID, where there have been moments where everybody's so down, or, your flair, and you bring a literal bright spot to those meetings. So I'm sure it's really uplifting and fun, and something that everybody looks forward to. And it's just that point of almost levity and purpose, as well as just the unexpected in a happy, uplifting way.
Yes, I was joking recently with a friend that I think I prepared my entire life for this past year, in that I have now started cutting my own hair and dyeing my own hair. And so it's just been part of the experience for me, and getting to see. And if it's not the right color, I can change it. And if I mess up the cut a little bit, it grows back. It's not a big deal. Or I just buzz it back down. So that's always my go-to, is I can always go back bald. There's really nothing I can do to my hair that scares me anymore.
It's a renewable resource, right?
Yeah,
that's
very
great.
much.
So Casie, Kelly has been gone nearly as long as she lived.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel the need to be even louder as time goes on to make sure Kelly's voice is still heard and out there and present?
Absolutely. It's funny that you should mention that. Just last year, I was doing the math in my head, actually on my phone, because I don't do a whole lot of math in my head anymore. But and I realized we were coming up on her being 18 years gone. This is 17, but we're closing in on 18 years gone. And what that means. It has been a lifetime without her. I've graduated college. I got married. I've had multiple jobs. Our youngest sister has graduated high school, college, and we've done all this without her, but she's here every step of the way. I can hear her. She screams at me still. We still fight on some days. But it's definitely really fueled the passion and the purpose. And even when I get tired, because a lot of this requires a lot of time and commitment, and early mornings and late nights, to be as successful as we have been. I think of her. I think of what I would have given to have had her here the past 17 years. And I think of our families. I think of our kids, especially this past year with everything that's happened. It would be easy to say, okay, now's the time to stop. But to me, it's actually time to ramp it up twice as hard. Kids didn't stop getting cancer this past year. So think about how hard this past year was just for us, and think about now having to have a family or a child go through that during a pandemic. Like I can't even imagine what that would be. So I'm happy to dedicate any amount of time that I have to ending children's cancer. And coming up on that anniversary of Kelly just really makes me dig my heels even further.
Well, you put a lot into perspective there. And I think all of us in the last year have learned what it's like to live as kids with cancer must, because there so often required to live in seclusion and away from everybody. They can't go to school and they can't see their friends. Sometimes they can't see their siblings. And some kids can't even see their parents because they're in isolation inside hospitals and no one can touch them for long periods of time. So I think this last year has given us maybe more insight and greater empathy for people who need us. And it's as hard as it's been for the whole world to live this way in the last year. We will eventually come out of this, and you've just shined a light on what it's like for kids with cancer. So thank you for that. I want to say to our audience, if you're just joining us, we're visiting with longtime 11-year St. Baldrick's volunteer, Casie Shimansky. She does all these marvelous things in memory of her sister, Kelly. But wait until you hear how she ended up shaving for this first time. So Casie, tell us, when did you decide to go bald?
2012. I almost went bald the very first event. I mean, I was all in, and I saw 2 women go bald that day. My life just changed. I was like, I could do that. That looks like something I could do. And I kind of had to stop myself because I had come out to photograph this event like any other event. I told my family where I was going, but I'm going to a head shaving event for children's cancer. Never told them that I would go bald or any of that. So I kind of had to pump the brakes on that first year and think, okay, let's think this through. But right after that second event, I told Garrett, you can have my hair. Now, before he pulled me up on stage in that moment and auctioned off my hair, I said, hold on, you have to wait until I'm married. And he said, absolutely, I will hold you to that. And Sean and I weren't even dating at the time. We were a few months away, but he and I had been friends for many, many years. So when I told him that I had made this promise to go bald after I was married, I thought I would scare him off. And his reaction was, you're going to rock that. And I just knew I loved him then. I was like, okay, let's do this thing. But we essentially tied my going bald. He had gone bald for 5 years at that point, I think, with my dad and him going bald each year. But we tied the wedding to my first St. Baldrick's shave, and it became our wedding weekend.
Now that's a story in itself, but I want to remark on something. The fact that Sean said to you, you're going to rock that, is so beautiful, because for a woman, I think in a special way, because society has so many of these expectations about how we should look, like to have that kind of approval and that support and encouragement must have just felt so incredible to you.
Yes. It is actually almost the number one question I get to this day is, what does your husband think of your hair? Depending on the phase, like whether I'm bald or it's different colors or what. I was like, 1, not his hair, so he doesn't get a say. But 2, he is completely supportive. He loves it. He actually prefers it bald. Like, he thinks it's a fun thing just to walk around and give me little head rubs. And he's been one of the greatest support. He's my right hand person. I can't do this without him, because he's just making sure I get fed usually, but also making sure, like, hey, it's midnight, we should go to bed, and what do you need help with, all those things. But yeah, from the second, like I said, even before we were dating, he was all in on it too. So it's been a great partnership between us on many levels, obviously, but in particular for St. Baldrick's, because we're kind of the whole family is a force to be reckoned with.
It sounds like it. But what he highlighted, and you have just eloquently stated here, is that beauty, there's not one definition of what beauty is. And I've always believed that the greatest beauty is the internal beauty, right? Mm-hmm. And you have that, and it emanates from you, Casie. And I think the hair, and whether it's there or not, and whatever color it is, it's just one more way you show your beautiful spirit. Thank you. So when did you finally go bald?
So it was actually, we made everyone wait a while. And we are so lucky that Sean is also really patient, because every year at St. Baldrick's, people will be like, when are you going to ask her to marry you? Like, poking him, this poor guy. But he proposed just before our 2017 event. And everyone was like, oh, you're going bald this year. I said, hold on, pump the brakes. That's in like 2 weeks. No. I said the event after we're married. But we also knew that we kind of had to make that happen before the 2018 event. I was like, people will unfriend us if we go beyond 2018. So we did make it happen we got married on March 22nd. And on March 24th, we were bald. So not even 48 hours later. And we were just happened to be talking about our wedding plans. We had right around the same time gone to Captain Hiram's, which is where the Indian River, our sister event, was. And I saw like, oh, this is a great wedding venue. How cool. And again, stars aligned, just made it happen. Because I had said that we had a lot of family and friends flying in from different states around the country for our wedding. And I was like, I wish there was a way for them to be here when I go bald too. And there you have it. It was a wedding bald weekend.
That is incredible. We've had people meet at St. Baldrick's events. We've had proposals at St. Baldrick's event. We had a wedding at a St. Baldrick's event, but this is the first time I think that St. Baldrick's has been part of someone's honeymoon. I love this. We should be marketing the organization as a matchmaking service. It's pretty incredible. A lot of romance at these events.
Yes, it's Sean has been the biggest, I call him, he's sort of he brings people into the fold. And he just tells people you have to come to one of these events. You have to come to our event. You've never seen anything like this. You've never experienced anything like this. And true to form, folks, both of these events are about an hour away from where we actually live in Florida. And we've got tons of friends that still come out to this day, to support. And again, there's no day like shave day. It's just an amazing experience.
So as both a volunteer and a shavie, you have special moments that have been yours uniquely. But as a photographer, you're also watching everybody else's moments at an event, and you're trying to capture them in just the right moment and to kind of preserve that memory for them. Tell us about some of your favorite St. Baldrick's moments.
Oh, this is something that could go on for a while too. I've got quite a few. As a photographer, seeing our honored families and kids come through to begin our events, the bagpipes playing, and just everything kind of accumulating to that event. And I remember it was probably like my third or fourth event where I had a few of the honored parents just reach out to me and hug me and thank me. Many of them still come up to me this day when they see me at events, and we're all family now. But they still take time to thank me for something that was just instinctual for me. I knew I had to be there and be a part of it, and to really see what they've been going through and what their children have had to go through, and that they still take time to look around and see everyone come together is an amazing thing that I will never forget. And seeing all the women who went bald before me, there were over 200 of them. I recently just posted a little video that I made, kind of telling the story of seeing each woman and really for 7 years looking for the woman that bald didn't work so that I could prepare myself for when I went bald. And I never found one. I never found one where bald didn't just completely make them stunning. Their eyes were brighter, their smile was bigger. You saw them, and I just thought like, wow, what a powerful thing that is, and you and I kind of talked as shavies that, the night before I first went bald, I had the moment of like, oh goodness, what have I done? And not so much that I wanted to back out of it, because I was all in, let's do this. I had 19 inches of long purple hair I wanted gone. But it was just like, I didn't know how I would feel bald. I didn't know how I would look. I didn't know what next. And, my new husband at the time kind of like held me by the shoulders and was like, you will be fine. You will be amazing. And your hair is superhero hair. Like it is helping to save children's lives. Like, how cool is that? And then that flipped that switch real quick, but it takes a lot for a woman to go bald. I'm a really feisty little person when it comes to women going bald, because it's a big deal. No matter if it's once or 100 times, it's still a big deal. So those are my tops as photographer. As team captain, I am super proud that our small little team of usually less than 10 shavies has raised over $100,000 now for children's cancer research. And a lot of those donations are $25 and under. So that is a lot of people caring a lot and just giving what they can to hit those numbers every single year. And every single year I get a little nervous, like, oh, we're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. I just had a $500 day yesterday. I have no idea except to tell you that a lot of people come together to make that happen. Yes, I'm the one screaming on the top of the hill, but they're hearing me. And they're saying, here's what I've got to give. $1, $5, $10, it all makes a difference. And as a shavee, nothing will beat that first shave. I was a nervous wreck that day. It was a really cool, calm bride, but shave day, I like woke up and I was like, okay. It's like 7 years built into this moment. And it took all morning for me to kind of make my way down and kind of get the nerve to walk downstairs. But that first year we raised over $26,000 for my head of hair. And that was just again, the community coming together. I love being bald. I was never a long-haired person to begin with, so I really only grew it out to donate. That's kind of what's happening here too. Like this will all get donated when we shave this year. But it's been a really unique experience. Lots of things happened that I wasn't expecting. A lot of women tell me that I'm a role model for women with short hair and no hair. I wasn't really expecting that, but I'll take it. And then finally, I was named a Cisco Bridge Award winner in 2020 for all of these efforts. So to then also, we don't do any of this to be recognized. It's not why you get into something like this, but to have my coworkers and my leadership at Cisco recognize me for this effort and to help shine a spotlight on kids battling cancer was really, really powerful.
Well, I'm a big fan of Cisco too. I think you know that. And yesterday I was honored to join you for a session at the Cisco Women of Impact conference, and you surely are. I've been so impressed with everybody that I've met at Cisco, and I would imagine that being one of 10 Bridge Award winners, well, first, it says so much about you that you stand out amongst so many extraordinary people. But tell us more about the Bridge Award and about what that enables you to do and how that enables you to amplify what you do.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, we are one of 10. It's an annual award that Cisco gives to employees. There are many employees that work at Cisco around the world. So to be one of 10 of many who are constantly giving back. We often say giving back is in our DNA, and that sounds like a marketing pitch, but we are all heart there. We get 5 days off a year to give back. Our donations are matched, and then any hour I spend volunteering for St Baldrick's gets a $10 match as well from Cisco. So it's all there, and they're so supportive. I've actually met a lot of coworkers who are also St Baldrick shavies now, and we have like a little group and, support each other and brainstorm together. And, I think we're all nationwide at the moment, but I know there's more out there. And so just, again, shining that spotlight, getting that opportunity to really kind of blend my worlds is kind of nice. But it's been a really unique experience, and I'm super grateful for it.
Well, it's an incredibly generous and community-minded company because of the people that are part of the company who make it so. And we're so thrilled to have you and so many of your Cisco family members part of the St. Baldrick's Foundation. To all of you listening, Team Live Out Loud is going to shave virtually on July 31st. Congratulations again, Casie, on hitting your first fundraising milestone of the year yesterday. To our audience, if you want to sponsor Casie, we're going to provide the link again for you to do that. We'd love to have your support. And if you'd like to learn more about childhood cancer research or how to become a hero for kids with cancer like Casie is and those on Team Live Out Loud are, please visit stbaldricks.org. Thank you, Casie, for joining me today, and to all of you for joining us. And until next time, thanks for helping give kids a lifetime.